Hi everyone, welcome back to our third show of the day, and what a day it's been. Thank you ever so much to those of you that have already purchased our brand new collection from Carnation Crafts. And for those of you that haven't, there's still good news, you can still get hold of it. What's happened today, and this is kind of pretty revolutionary and pretty unexpected, to have a sellout as early as we did. We were not quite expecting that. We actually sold out of the collection at about 9:30 this morning after a little tease that Carla gave it on Facebook last night. But the good news is we've been able to arrange extended dispatch. Now, what does that mean? It means you can order it today for $89.99. I'll tell you how that price is arrived at in a second, because it's on a discount code. You can order it today for $89.99 with free P&P, and it will be with you shortly after the 4th of May. So only literally a few weeks to wait, couple of weeks to wait really, and it will be with you shortly after that. But what the good news is for you is it locks the deal. And if you buy this going forward after the deal's ended, you'll be paying nearly £150 for it. We don't want that to happen. We don't want you to do that. We want you to get it at the brand new launch discounted price of $89.99. ClearPay is there, and also PayPal Pay in 3 if you want to split the cost interest free. But the most important thing is to get it now while it's at this reduced price, and the all important code you need to put into the promo box at checkout is CCGT10. Okay, so CC for Carnation Crafts, GT for Getting Together, because that's the name of the collection, 10, and then you'll get your extra 10% off, taking it from $99.99 down to $89.99. Now, why has this been so successful? Why has it been such a sought after collection? Because it's got a kind of nod to the masculine, which I know lots of you have been asking us for, because it's always tricky to make cards for us guys. We're not the easiest of people to make cards for. And you've got a sport theme going through here with bowls and darts and golf, football, tennis. Any sport you can think of is covered here. Also, we've got a bar theme. So we've got the outside of the bar. It doesn't have to be a bar. It doesn't have to be a building that's a bar. It could be a building that's like a clubhouse or a golf course or anything like that. It could even be like a church. Someone suggested that in the earlier show. You could make it festive by putting snow on the roof for a Christmas card. So it's got loads and loads and loads of uses. But then you've got the outside scene, but then you've got what goes on the inside as well. So you've got three different variants really: the sport theme, the outside of the building theme, the inside of the building theme, and it's just got so many possibilities and capabilities. If I show you this card here, this gives you a good idea as to how versatile this is. You've got the couple sitting at the bench having a nice tipple, glass of wine, pint of beer in the summer sunshine, with of course the building behind it. But if I show you another one, now where's the one that goes on the inside? Here, for example, this one I love actually. This is done by Vera. Look, they, as a gentleman golfer, waited to go into maybe the clubhouse or the bar at the end of the 19th hole by the looks of it, open up the door, and you can have all sorts going on inside. A gentleman and a lady having a glass of wine and a pint of beer on the inside. So there's so many ways of using this and so much fun you can have with it. Before we look at the boards, and lovely Carla and Taz are here of course with me as well on this launch day. The vignettes, the artwork, which is exquisite, is there for you to print off straight away if you go to our website, which is carnationcrafts.co.uk. You can just literally search for the downloads and the vignettes, and all the artwork, single vignettes and double vignettes are there. Print them off right now and enjoy the artwork right now, and your dies will be with you shortly after the 4th of May. Look at all these wonderful, wonderful images. Designed and drawn and painted by, of course, Nick and his team back at Carnation HQ. You know where the artworks come from. You can then build your cards and sell with confidence. And believe me, Carnation Craft cards fly. It's something about a Carnation Crafts card. It's imaginative, it's luxurious, and also, of course, you can charge quite a bit for your cards as well because they just look so stunning. Lovely, Carla, thank you for lunch.
You're quite welcome.
Pizza and chips.
Did you enjoy it?
I loved it.
It was like, I've just introduced Dave to chip spice, and if you're from Hull or East Yorkshire, you'll know what chip spice is because we don't get chips without.
I've never had it before. I love it.
Very good. It's very good stuff. Right, so we have got Getting Together. So this collection, as you all know, has just been a flyaway success. Let me just move this so you can see better. And this is all about literally getting together, and obviously recent times getting together has become more and more important to all of us. There's, you know, a really beautiful thing regarding the time we get to spend together, but it also then celebrates the masculine aspects of crafting. So we've got male sportsmen, if you like, all doing their things. Have a look through the boards, have a look at that clubhouse, and then we'll get into demos for you and hopefully get 3 demos done today. so that you can see all different aspects of it and how to craft in different ways. Just to give you a heads up and a reminder that we have already had 2 shows this morning, one at 9 a.m. and one at 11, and you can go onto YouTube to go and see those, so you can have reconstructions of your demonstrations if you like and go and see them. Anything that I make, you are welcome to copy, and anything that the DT team make, which is in the Carnation Crafters Facebook group, you are also allowed to copy too. If you're using somebody else's, you have to ask permission, but the DT team and myself, you're good to go. So you have got this lovely, lovely clubhouse. This is your main card shape. Really versatile, do lots with it. So this is the basic die cut in white, and then you've got your layers and your mats underneath it. You've also got your little extra. It's kind of like an extra little house, if you like, on the side. It's like an annex to your building with a little white picket fence that just glues together.
Could be a craft room.
It could be it'd be a very nice craft room. You've got your park bench, your pub bench, should I say, sorry. You've got your little barrier for the front door. You've got placards, you've got foliage, you've got all kinds of things going on. Artwork wise, what does that account to? Well, it's there. It's just stunning, and this is free to you to download at any time from the Carnation Crafts website. Now, one thing I will talk to you about very quickly about that, and it's something that I keep meaning to discuss more because it's a really important point. If you go onto the Carnation Crafts website and you download the artwork from it, it'll go to your computer. Always good to have. And you can go back onto the Carnation Crafts website, so if you lose it from your computer, you can go back and you can download again. However, when you're on the Carnation Crafts website, if you actually become a member, if you like, and you can then, you have your name, you've got an account with them, everything that you've ever downloaded from them will be in that account. And that's really important, especially if you're somebody who buys like extra colorways and you've paid for them, because they're in your account. You can download them again at any time. If you've paid extra for them and they're on your computer and you lose them, you've lost them. But if you can go back because you're a member of that website, so you have an account with Carnation Crafts, it'll remember everything. Doesn't mean they're going to start emailing you. Doesn't mean to say they're going to store your information in that way. It's just that you're then an account holder with Carnation and everything can be re-downloaded. So I hope that helps. I would recommend it massively. It saves you a lot of time and messing about, but it just means that everything is at your fingertips.
I just love all the accessories. You've got the garden bench, you've got the kind of crowd control banners there and the trellises.
It's what I put out when these two are here in the morning. Keep them away from porridge.
Stay away.
You've got your beautiful flower baskets, you've got your little lights, you've got your bench, obviously, and you've got your bigger basket here as well, which really, really love. Now, obviously, this one can be pinned against a wall or it can be placed just as a window box. Really, really useful. So that's your main card shape. We move from there onto your ladies. This is your better halves. So you've got the seated lady. You've got the lady who looks like to me like she would be standing at a bar, and then this lady who looks like she is completely immersed in conversation. Really nice aspect to have with a masculine element, because it means that we can bring it forward to feminine as well, or we can join the two together to have couples and romantic kind of cards as well. So really great set for Valentine's Day.
So it's not just masculine. There are some ladies in there too.
And then the heroes.
The fellas.
This is what it's all about, right? This is what we've been waiting for. Football, tennis, bowls, cricket, golf, darts, rugby, all of the things. And then you've obviously got your card games as well. You've got your pool cue here, and you've got this ponytail. Now, we have said in the other shows, but for those of you who are watching brand new today, and this is the first time you've seen us, the ponytail can be added to the back of the heads, and it creates a female from that. So
I've got that here actually,
there
Carla,
you go.
to
Little
show
examples.
I'll put it. I'll pop it there.
There you go.
So that's a gentleman and a gentleman, but you put the ponytail on and it gives you the illusion of it being a lady, and it really does look very, very convincing, doesn't it?
It's just been done in such a clever way. Now, Carnation have said this morning that they are aiming at some point before Christmas to release something, I suppose, in a similar vein, but celebrating female sports heroes as well. So it won't just be this, but that ponytail will tide you over between now and you being able to receive that collection. You can use that ponytail to get you through, but this is focusing on the masculine. It's celebrating the masculine, which I love. All your sporting heroes, all there for your use, and most sports are covered in those. Then we've got this piece here, which is your comfy seats, and you've got obviously your leather chairs, your table, you've got your table number, you've got your lamp, and you've got your condiments as well. You've got your parquet flooring, tennis court, golf pitch, green thing, but I'm not getting any better at this, am I? Balls, and then you've got either rugby, football, any of those things, but actually just as a garden piece. So start to think of.
I mean, those chairs look like they're fresh from a gentleman's club, don't they?
I know,
or
don't they?
like that.
Really nice. But if you have these, you can use, if you start to think of other collections, the little characters that you've got from things like Wild Garden, stuff like that, you've actually got a grass base for them now as well, so you'll be able to put them together. If you want to add 2 of these together, all you would need to do is do a snip line down there and glue 2 together. You could create something more elongated, much longer as well. So any of the characters that you've got, any of the mice that you've now got some grass for them as well. Then we've got this. This is a stroke of utter genius. Like, this could not be clever. You've got your billiards table here. You've got your cards. You've got your poker chips. Perfect, right? Your dice, everything going through. Then you've got your pool table. You've got your fruit machine. So you've got your jackpot one here. And then you have got Super Mario. Super Mario, because obviously Carnation have got the mice, and there is the little Carnation mouse jumping for joy.
I would not have noticed that if you hadn't pointed it out, but it's a really cute addition, isn't it?
It's what Carnation do so well. It's things like, if I look at the pool table here, there is a ball turned with the number 6 on it. The detail that they go to is just extraordinary, because they don't have to, and we wouldn't miss if it wasn't there. We notice because it is, and so do the people that you send the cards to. Those details matter. It does matter. Then finally, we've got your bar.
The detail in this is off the charts. When you look at the bottles, look at the glasses, they are so tiny, but they've even got the writing on the label, so you can even kind of imagine what brand it is.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got the main bar here, which is obviously even down to having the gold rail, as we all know that they've got them in bars. Then you've got your shelves that go behind that slot. You could use mirror card in the centre of that and have the mirrored, in pubs they often have like a mirrored background behind these, and it's to give the illusion that there is more bottles and things like that hanging. Your bottles you could hang upside down as well, as if they were optics. There's lots you can do with it. You've got your beer pumps there, you've got your beer glass, you've got your, maybe a whiskey, maybe a gin or a cognac, and then you've got your shot glasses, you've got your pints, and you've got your wine. Now what's really great about these is some of these are empty glasses, because you can fill your shelves. You are creating a full scene.
Some of you may know that my passion, my hobby is model making. So to my mind, this is combining the 2 things, card making and model making together. If I show you this one, this was done by, I haven't got a name on this one, but whoever did this, amazing, hats off to you. This is a work of art. You've got your crowd control banners at the front there. You've got a wonderfully 3-dimensional front to the actual building itself, with the word Club Carnation on there. And of course, these are actually digital stamps. So if you want to print these off as well, they're part of the vignettes on the website. You can print those off too if you want to. But this isn't all the cards about. If I open this up, look at what's inside. You've got the pool table being used, you've got a crowded bar area, some people sat down there with their drinks in their hands. So all the elements that build up the scene, that tell the story that you want to tell, you can take this as far or make it as minimal as you want. It's entirely up to you. I mean, going from that level of detail and intricacy to something relatively simple, like this one that Carla did in the last show. So if you're a beginner crafter, don't think this is too advanced, you know, it's not going to kind of leave you standing. You could start off quite simple, and then gradually, as you get more confidence, then start to, as you can see here, really take it to the next level. This 3-dimensional scene, it looks like you could literally walk into it, because there's so much depth and so much dimension in there. It's only about 3 levels deep or 4 levels deep, but what about that? Isn't that beautiful? So this is something you can really spend a lot of time on and take an awful lot of time and trouble over, or you can make a really quick card with it as well. Now the whole collection is where you get the best value. It's $89.99. Remember, that is the best price. So if you order it today, you'll get that price. If you order it later, you may be, well, having to pay somewhere in the region of £148 for this. CCGT10 is the discount code that takes it from our discounted price of $99.99 down to the lowest price of $89.99. Free UK P&P. And do remember that we've got our perfect papers, which we always offer you. This is cardstock, not paper, cardstock, 300 GSM. 48 A4 sheets you can enjoy, and it's only recently that Carnation started to do this. You've got half of them in solid colours, lovely colourways that match the artwork of the vignettes, and then the other half is a mixture of dots and also diagonal lines, fine dots and fine diagonal lines. But if you would like that, that's only $14.99 today, plus your P&P, unless you're ordering it with the main die collection. Otherwise, there's no P&P because you're spending over £50. If you're in the US though and you want to order it, it is going to be $4.95 shipping and handling for you. And if you go for the perfect papers, that takes the shipping and handling up to $14.95. I just want to quickly say hello to all of you that are on Facebook right now. Hi Carla and Dave, Miss Taz from a cloudy Bognor Regis. That's Suzanne Page, and Suzanne gives us a weather report throughout the day. It was sunny earlier on, now it's cloudy. Love that. Michelle Johnson, afternoon everyone. Hi Karen Vincent. Annie Foxall says, hello everyone, just back from coffee with the ladies. Loving this collection and can't wait for this to arrive, Karen says. It's on its way if you ordered it before 9:30 this morning. If you order it now, we'll get it to you shortly after the 4th of May. So that's a little short of about 3 weeks to wait, but well worth the wait and well worth saving the money as well at the same time. Right.
Let's demo. So in the first show this morning at 9 o'clock we decorated the outside of the pub. At the 11 o'clock we decorated the inside, and now I want to look at it just kind of as an aperture or something kind of different. So please do catch up on all the other ones if you want to catch up on those. Sharon will be here with us tomorrow 12 and 2 as well, so you'll get a completely different look for what Sharon's doing to what I do, so you get to have a wider expanse across the board of how, you know, different people craft with it, which is always nice to have. So main house shape, let me just put these bits over here. So same as always, I've scored, but as I said earlier, when I'm doing it with the house shape, I score much lower down, and that's because if I just score at ½ an inch, I'm just going to have this holding it together, and I'd much rather have that stronger point where it's a little bit wider. So I'm going to take my red liner tape away from that, push it towards myself, towards my body, as always, shuffle these together, and pop that down just to get your card base where you need to be. I love this so much. It's that gorgeous, gorgeous dotted paper, and this is the blues and the white, so those cooler tones, really, really pretty.
It's a nice touch for them to add that, actually,
it
that
is.
extra
It's
texture.
just a little bit of something, it gives it a visual. Now, what I've done is cut the aperture to this, and I've cut it twice and I've stuck them together, so it's slightly higher, not much. I've done it on 350 GSM cardstock, so I now have a 700 GSM aperture of that house, just the outline of it. So I'm basically giving myself an outline, a liner. Now you could do this in mirror card, you could do it in black, you could do it in anything to give yourself just something a little bit different, like an outline to your artwork, which is always really sweet to have. So I'm going to put that on first, and then I'll pop this in, because they should theoretically be absolute. Actually, I'm probably safer off putting that down first and going on top. You can see how we create this outline for it. It gives it a really lovely different dimension, because if I take that away, yes, I've got the border, but that gives it something else, finishes it right, and makes it very neat. So we'll get rid of this and put this down and place.
And like we said before, you know, this house can be a clubhouse at a sports ground. It could be a church. Someone said that they could easily see that as like the door to a church. It could be an old building in a town with snow on the roof for Christmas. There's lots and lots of ways you can jazz this up. It's not just a bar or a pub.
I mean, if you put it with fresh blooms, you've got shop fronts and then hidden gems as well. You could make like a whole scene, couldn't you? Literally. Right, so on the back of this, little tiny bits of wet glue, not much. What's wrong?
You could use Say No More with the arch, you know, the flower arch that they have in it, I believe.
Say no more, say no more, say no more.
The small flower collection that I really like.
Yes.
And turn it into a wedding venue.
Ooh.
You're talking about the hairband shape that you can cut into. Yes.
That would be good. I mean, you know what collections you've got from Carnation at home and how versatile this is going to be with those. Mix and match all the elements and the characters. Go to town. Yep.
So I'm just going to place on, and I create that lovely chunky border to that shape, which is just really pretty to have. Let's get bits of chum off. I've got some chum. So really, really, really lovely. It says, Pauline E says, Miss Carla, please ask the powers that be to do some front-facing people.
Okay.
I mean, they've got them from the wedding collection, from Wonderful in White. So there are some to use. Obviously, you might not want everybody walking around in a bridal dress, which I do understand. Whenever we're doing these shows, Carnation will listen. So they do hear the requests and they go through. They're obviously planning ahead at the moment. So it can take a while for it to come about, the same as you've been asking for sports for a while, because they're already several collections ahead.
And Michelle says that too, that would be great. So that could be something that we could look into. Also, there are some side-facing images on these as well, not just all backs of heads. You've got couples sat down talking each other side to side, so there is that element to it too.
Yeah. Now on the bottom I'm going to use the parquet flooring, and I'm actually going to keep it overlapping. I could cut it, but I like the fact that it juts from the card, because what that does is extend my whole sort of perspective, if you like. It extends it out to outside of the pub. Good afternoon, Shadia. I hope you're okay. So I'm just going to glue that down first and look at that. Do you know?
It gets everywhere.
Half a brain and I'd be dangerous. Let's pop this down, as my father tells me continually. Let's put this here.
And it's the same shape that cuts out the pitches and the pitch and putt, all of that as well. Really clever
Or
use
the rugs.
Or the rugs, as I thought they were earlier today, yeah.
If you're going to be Davy B, it can just be rugs. Now, let's pop this bar on. Now, what I like to do with the bar, see how I have this extension at the front? If I'm using the parquet floor, what I can do is, where that raises here, I'm going to put that and I'm going to lift this over the floor. So they align with it and this juts over it. That's going to give me 3D visual, okay? So that's what we're aiming for. So I'm going to go over this. Now you could use pin flare, raise it, totally, not a problem. You could have a barman behind it.
Do you print all your vignettes double-sided?
All of them.
All of them.
I know there's some people who only like to work single-sided. I'm not saying one is, you know, better for everybody. I prefer to have the mirrored vignettes because I like the choice it gives me. I like the freedom. I like the fact that if I'm composing a card and my composition becomes such that something like this lady who I want to have sitting and I've created her, I can turn her around and I can have her that way. I don't want to have to make that decision while it's coming out of my printer. I like to make the decisions when I've got the pieces and I can put things together. So sure. It's important to me.
But if you know that you're only going to see one side, then you can save your ink and just print one-sided. You've got the option. It's on there on the website. So.
Right, yeah, you get both when you download anyway, so it's a choice you can make as you're printing.
I wonder how many of you are sat down just kind of flicking through the pages of what you've printed off since this morning, just thinking, can't wait to get started.
Playing with the little bottle.
Yeah, and remember, if you did order it before 9:30 this morning, the chances are you'll probably get it tomorrow, if not tomorrow, the day after. Dispatch is incredibly quick from Carnation.
I love it. I love it the day after launch when I see people on the group going, oh, it's just arrived, it's just arrived. Sheila says it'd look great as a doll's house too, absolutely. And I think some of these pieces in here are just so perfect for doll's house collections as well, because there's so much in it. So really, really cute. Right, let's decorate. Let's get some pieces on here. So first of all, I'm going to put my 2 bar stools on. So I know that I've got my placement where I want it to be. For some reason, I'm drawn to putting these at the sides, but they don't all need to be that way. It's just it works for me. Now I'm going to do the same here.
Linda Poland says, good afternoon everyone. Carla, loving the demos, showing the versatility of this collection. This, to my mind, is one of the most versatile ones we've done in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I love Carnation for the versatility. Anyway, I love the card shapes. I think they're really important, and it's just so nice to see something different. The one thing Carnation do, well, the Carnation do many things very, very well, but one of the things that Carnation do extremely well is knowing not only that we need a masculine collection, because that's important, and we've needed one for a long time, but it's knowing that they still have to present that in a way that looks inviting, and that's done through the artwork. It's done through the fact that it is the same team of artists. So kind of instead of just knocking something out, we still get the thought process behind it, and I really like that. We should never have to sort of dumb down the quality we expect, right? And
am I right in saying that on the vignettes on the artwork that the characters are in lots of different coloured clothing? So I'm just thinking,
not clothing, they've got different coloured skin tones.
Just thinking like the football tops and things like that.
I don't know if they change, and I won't sit here and tell you they do. I just have the one colour on the shirts. If they do, that's amazing. I can't. Well, listen, when they did all the flags for the little mouse. That they did every single flag in the whole of the world. So I'm not saying they won't have done, but it would be very hard to accommodate all football teams.
But if you don't have the exact right colour strip, you can of course cut the character and colour it in yourself with your pens or your paints or whatever you want to do to get it right. So
So I'm just decorating the top of that just with some foliage, bring that archway round, allow it to have that visual flow as it goes through the top. And then anything that I put underneath that becomes a flow from it. So we work with that scope. So those things are important to get in first. Once I've got that, I can start working through. So I'm going to bring, with try not to lose me bits and me bats. Hang on, because these are little dinkies. So one of the things that I want to do is put a light at the top, just as a little point of interest, because I've got a naked top.
Right.
Not literally, you'll all be pleased to know I am wearing clothes. I am appropriate. Miss Taz is looking just to check. It's her job. Just to make
sure you got clothes on.
That I'm appropriate. And I'm just going to put that onto there. So I've got the little light. That little light is incredibly clever. It does look like it's glowing. It's got that beautiful kind of glow to it, which is really clever. Just straighten that up and make sure that is pinned down.
Oh, evidently, I've just been told that the different colour clothing for different football teams, that is available as an option, but it is something you have to pay for.
There you go.
There you go. So it is on the website, not as a free, but certainly if that's something specifically you want, a certain colour of football outfit, football strip, that is an option for you on the website.
Possibility.
Yeah.
It would be so much work just to do that for, you know, a straight download. It is such a lot of work. Right, just putting these bar pumps in, which I love so much, because once these bar pumps are in, this can be nothing other than a bar. It looks like, you can smell it. Like I say earlier, I worked in so many pubs, literally I can smell it. I love the smell of pubs.
You can
not
feel
in that way.
you can feel your feet sticking to the carpet.
You literally, you remember those days?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right, I'm going to go in with these little plant pots, which I love, love, love. So just putting those on the edges here, so we're decorating through. Literally like playing with a doll's house. It's so much fun.
Yeah. There's a strong similarity to that in actual fact, but you're making a card, you know, that's appropriate to a certain person of a certain age who likes a certain drink or likes a certain sport or whatever it might be.
Like me with my sporting.
Yeah. Well, you watch it, don't you?
Nope.
Nope?
Well, I watch football.
Okay.
Does that count?
I suppose.
And tennis. I like Wimbledon.
Yes, me too. I like skiing too. Not that I can do it, but I like watching it.
Unfortunately, I don't even know if this is an appropriate tale to tell really. It's not like a bad story, but I was banned from, I went skiing with school and then I was banned from allowed going on the slopes because I broke somebody's leg.
You broke someone's leg?
I
What, bashed into them?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
And so they said I wasn't allowed out anymore on the slopes. And so for a whole week I had to sit with the teachers. Oops. I'm not coordinated, just in case anybody was wondering. Let's pop a little beer bottle there.
That's so sweet.
I didn't go skiing again.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't trust myself unless I've got a like on-off switch and a brake. I'm no good.
A break on your skis.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm a bit chugged
blocked
up.
blocked
Yeah.
up.
Just let me see if I can get this to come out now. There we go. Pop her on her seat. I love that. So clever, isn't it?
So this is one of the side angles. So it's not all backs of heads. You know.
So keep her raised slightly, and can you see the shadow from her head just coming round? So again, that 3D element that comes through where we see that jump off the page. So what I'm going to do, she's got a little handbag, and I'm going to just seat that by her feet. So that's going to sit there.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Perfect.
So. I've got another little glass. Look at all the things.
I do
Just
love
one
all this
second.
dimension. It makes a massive difference to the way the card looks.
It's just, dimensions always, whenever we're making cards, dimensions the thing that makes sense of what we're doing, and it allows us to create a visual storyline in the most appropriate manner. Right, I'm just going to place that there, and now obviously you would do more bottles, you would do, you know, more elements. I'm just putting in some basics at this point. Put this one down here. Now I don't want it to look like she's drinking a bottle of whiskey, but it's on the bottom of the shelf.
I'll show you in a minute some simpler cards as well, because not everybody's into the really in-depth detail. So if you're wondering how you can use them for, maybe if you're a beginner crafter or something like that, I'll show you some simple ones in a minute.
Put her wine in her hand.
it actually goes into her hand.
Yeah, tweezers are going to be your best friend.
Yeah.
Not sticky hands like I've got at the minute. And then I'm going to pop this lady on. She's going to be standing, so these two are having a good old natter. Place her so she's grounded. So little things like making sure her feet are where the floor meet. Those things are important to your end visual because that's what makes it make sense. If she's floating above the bar, you'll lose it very quickly. It just won't, it won't ring true. So it's one of those little things. And
it looked like she had one too many.
I can make no comment on that, I'm afraid. And then just pop that central pop of colour.
Perfect.
You've created a full scene.
And that could be mother and daughter. How about that?
Mother's Day cards. You could do the same, change the characters to two males. You could have a Father's Day card. You know, it's not all about creating sort of those masculine. We can do both. We can make, but just to show you that I mentioned there, little bit of pin flare is going to change how the card looks by bringing some aspects forward and allowing some to stay behind.
Now, remember there are two other shows that are on the website. 9 o'clock this morning and 11 o'clock we did two earlier shows that show you how to decorate the outside of the building, how to put together a scene on the inside of the building, and that was a totally different take on it again as well. A scenario of two ladies at a bar. So it's not just a masculine theme, this, although predominantly it is probably 80% masculine, 20% feminine. But I just want to show you how you can do something incredibly simple but very, very eye-catching and stylish. And again, this is one of the digital stamps that you've got to download from the website that you can print off. Have a perfect day. See what they did there? And just kind of putting them one in front of the other looks really, really effective, but very simple. Doesn't take too long to do at all. This next one, using those chairs that Carla showed you a few minutes ago. This time we've got two gentlemen in there playing a game of poker or cards of some description. Again, doesn't have to be, you know, too busy or again too time consuming. This one though, totally different. This is a complete scene. It's almost like a storyboard for a soap opera or something like that, and the Rogue's Return, isn't it? You've got the jackpot slots, you've got the fantastic Super Mousio game on the arcade machine there as well, pool table, really, really lovely. I mean, that could even be almost outdoor. It doesn't have to be indoor, does it? That could be an outdoor bar in the spring and summer. And then, again, another really simple one for you, with a cricketer this time. And I personally love the fact that you've got the view of the character from behind, because that could be absolutely anybody. That could be my dad, it could be your son, it could be your nephew. Because you can't see the face, it doesn't really matter. And just dead simple, but very, very effective. What sport do you know that someone's into? Or does someone come up to you and say, oh, my other half's into golf, my other half plays bowls, have you got anything that you can do for a birthday card for them? If you've said no in the past, now you can say yes. It's all there for you in the collection. The artwork, the way it works, in case you're brand new to Carnation Crafts TV, we've been doing this now for well over a year. It's our own channel, and once a month they invite me to come along to help launch with Carla and Taz a brand new collection that you can't get anywhere else. This collection today, as far as I'm aware, has been the quickest to sell out. We've been on air not even 30 minutes this morning and it completely sold out. I know most of you got it overnight because you saw the little tease with Carla last night. The score is now that although it's technically sold out for immediate delivery, it is available for extended dispatch. Now you might think, oh, that's a shame, I won't bother then. Don't think that, because if you order it today, you'll get it just after the 4th of May. But most importantly, you're getting it at the reduced price. If you order it later in, you know, I don't know, a few weeks' time, it'll be £148.94 on Carnation Crafts website. Don't spend that extra 50 odd, 60 odd pounds. Get it today for £89.99 with the discount code, which is this, CCGT10. It'll say £99.99 on the website. Put that code in at checkout and then you'll get that extra £10 off, taking it to £89.99. There are individuals available, by the way, if you want to have a look at those on the website, if you just want maybe the house on its own, you just want the sports characters on their own. But what you can get today, and this is the exciting thing, is all of the artwork. We call them vignettes. because we're posh like that. The vignettes are there, so you can literally see the artwork printed off on whatever type of card or paper you like. We always suggest pro paper, but it's entirely up to you. And then of course we'll get the dies to you as quickly as we can. And don't forget the perfect papers for your mats and your layers and your card blanks as well, so that you haven't got any colour clashes with the artwork from Nick and the team. These colours just beautifully work with the main characters and the main artwork. And you've got a mixture, remember, of small dots and diagonal lines and the block colours as well. Half the pack will be block colours, so you get 24 sheets of the plain colours and then 24 sheets of your dots and your stripes, 12 of each. Okay, so that is 230408. Maybe you ordered the collection last night, didn't think about the perfect papers, and you're thinking, oh, I should really get those. 230408, $14.99 plus your P&P, and it'll be on its way. And remember, if you buy the two together, you save the P&P because you're spending over £50. It will be delivered to your door absolutely free. And if you're in America, it's $4.95 for the collection to be delivered. And if you buy the perfect papers, that takes the shipping and handling up to $14.95. Okay, but it's great that it's been so widely received, so everyone's going to love it. But I just love it, Carla, for, as I say, I'm a model maker, so it's got that element of building, like you said, like dolls' houses and that sort of thing. But I love the fact it's inside, it's outside, you've got the sports side of it as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just iconic, isn't it, in the sense that we can do so much with it. We're not grounded in a certain scenario with it. We can build and build, and also I think part of its, or I think a lot of its charm is the fact that it will work with other collections as well, and that's something that's so important to Carnation, because you know, you've spent your hard-earned cash, and it's right that they come together. It's right that we can use different elements. And I was saying in the Facebook Live about the little sky dish and stuff like that you get in work and play. Bring them together. You know, you've got, we've always said with Carnation, it's a little bit like building blocks. You buy one collection and then you buy additions to it. Everything else is then an addition because they work together as a whole. So it's important to remember to bring them all in and to work together with them.
Can I just show you these two easel cards before we do the next demo? Janine Dawson's done this one and Lavinia Newton's done this one, both with very similar thoughts but totally different. You've got the double easel basically going on with Janine's, and you've got that lovely kind of park bench scenario at a slight angle. Isn't that just gorgeous? And the Carnation Carvery, I could do with one of those maybe later on today.
Oof, that's not after that lunch.
Not after lunch, no. That's a digital stamp. And then in this one, this is a single easel card, but she's actually used acetate to prop up the tables and the characters. But look how dimensional that is. If you want to put some string lights, tiny lights behind, you could do that through the windows, illuminate it as a scene, but it's just beautiful. And as we said before, different hair colours, different skin tones, available on the website as well for you to print off now.
Just clever, clever, clever. So let's have a look at a demo. I'm going to do clean and simple for this. We're doing quite a quick one. We're doing a sports themed one because we've done an awful lot of the pub themed ones. And I will hopefully get a third demo done where we'll do kind of more of a restaurant scene, if you like. But let's do something that's sports orientated and that's easy to put together for those of you who are brand new to Carnation. So I'm just going to take this tape here and I'm just going to pull it off. I've just used a standard piece of 350 GSM card stock. Cut that down. I'm probably guessing this is about 6x4, something along those lines. 4.5 by 6. I was near enough. So we've just got a basic card shape. Everybody, you know, that's watching, even if you've never made a card before, you can make that. Just score it 1/2 inch bit of red line tape, chuck them together, it's done. Then I've got a piece of perfect papers and I've chosen that beautiful, it's like a butterscotch, really gorgeous colour. I'm using a 1mm foam tape, so this is quite flat and it's designed to be flat because I'm going to chunk up my sentiment. Now I find it easier for me when I'm trying to lay my layers on to have my card on the portrait side of things rather than the landscape. It's just a different way we work, but because that's where it is, it's just easier for me. Centre that up. Now, like I say, every time I can't lean over, so it's as good as it's going to get. But what we're going to do is push, pull, and that gives you your grounding on your mat to make it exactly where it should be. Oh, do you know, one day I'm going to come to air and not have glue on my mats. And let's face it, that's never going to happen. Right.
No, I don't think so.
So we've got our tennis, what's the word?
Tennis court?
Court. I get so confused with all the terms. I'm going to keep this flat. I don't want to elevate this in any way. What I don't want from a piece of groundwork like this particularly is a shadow behind it. because it won't make sense. It's not supposed to have a shadow behind it. It's supposed to be flat. Even if it was on the horizon, it would be flat. So as long as we stay within certain rules, as far as that sort of stuff's concerned, it will always make sense at the end. So I'm just going to place this down.
But such a clever way of being able to use that simple shape, but make it appropriate for bowling, make it appropriate for tennis, for golf, the parquet floor for the pub. It's just so clever, the use.
It is, and it's Nick's use of perspective. His brain has got a way of, and I think it's partly to do with being creative and partly to do with the fact that he's quite mathematical as well. So when you look at a shape like this, and I've just got it on that cream background, just using the dimension that he has where it comes out but the darker point at the front allows it to visually go back. You can see it yourselves. Like there's a point where this disappears into the background, and that means I can do whatever I want with the backing itself. So it's super, super useful. Now, I've got my tennis dude here. Now you can shape these out. Let's shape one of them out a little bit so you can see some shaping, because we haven't done any today.
Now both of these are gents, are dudes, as you'd say, Carla.
Dudes.
But remember, with that ponytail, which when you get your artwork and you print it off, you might think, what's that? What is it? That's going to basically visually change the look of the dude into a look of a lady.
And
with
just
ponytail.
doing his bottom cheeks, don't look. And then the curve of the back. Okay, so I've got a little bit of dimension. We never leave it curved in that way. You're always just going to pull it sort of forward so that you don't have that curvature. You still get where you've been with the ball tool, you don't have that curvature. So it works really, really well with your ball tool. I won't bother doing both. I did just want to do, one to show you, because it's not really my main visual point here, and I would like to get the extra demo done as well if possible. I'm trying to give you 3 demos. Now, choices. Do I want to put this character at the bottom, or do I want this character to be at the top? It tells a different tale. I'm going to go for the bottom.
So he's on the edge of the court.
So he is. Now, shadow. Raised. Pin flare. Shadow. Gives me shadow. It allows me to have something real about it.
To be fair, that looks almost like a photograph, doesn't it?
It does. I'm going to come in with another one. Now, what I'm going to do with this one is change the positioning, okay? So it'll go slightly forward. I could put them together. I can turn this round so they're standing next to each other. Do a sentiment in the middle, which actually I think is quite cute, and maybe we'll stick with that. But I don't want them in the same position on the grounding device, because if I put them on the same position, they're exactly the same height, and I want a height difference.
And can you notice the hair is different colour? So you've got a blonde and you've got a brown.
And the skin tone is slightly changed too. So I'm just going to go for that line. So feet at the bottom, feet on the next line, on the one up. So you change in kind of where they're standing. And then I've got that beautiful ponytail. Let's have a look at the ponytail. Tiny little bit of wet glue here. Now for this, I like to put it right at the top of the head.
And remember, the ponytail's in different colourways as well. Oh, look.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've got the female shape, and then I've got a sentiment to place into the middle.
Now the digital stamp, which we were talking about before, these are all on the website where the downloads are, yeah?
Yes.
Right.
Now this I can place obviously wherever. It can be placed at the bottom. I don't like it at the bottom because I've got so much going on that I want it to be at the top. Truth be told, I should probably have just aimed that a little bit further, and my instinct would have been to put it at the top. That's just the way my brain works, but actually because they're a little bit closer, I'll just pop it here in the center of the card. Beautiful sentiment, really beautiful, gorgeous font, really sort of booming and in your face and beautiful and lovely. Really simple cards. What we're doing here is not necessarily, are you asking me to turn it, Miss Towers? She told me not to last time. So
I
very
love
rare that I do as I'm told.
Very simple, but very stylish, very effective.
When we're playing with Carnation's collections, it's really important to note that one of the things that they are very focused on is the fact that you and I craft differently, and we all craft in different ways. Some of us like to use layers and panels, some of us like to decoupage, some of us like to keep things very plain, very simple. We all have different styles, and Carnation will always do everything to incorporate every single type of style, and that's important too, because if you me and 100 different people had this collection. As we see with the DT team, each card's different when they come back. That's a real boon, because at the very least it means you can make 100 completely different cards.
I've got to say hi to Maureen Hammond, who says, can't wait to get mine home. Hi Maureen, it's on its way. Annie Foxall says, beautiful card as usual, Carla. Thank you for your messages on Facebook today. Can I just show you this one, because this is one of my favourite parts of this collection. Can you see the background on this? Now, I don't know of any other brand that does anything like this, where you've got the blurred vignette background. So it's like you're on the edge of walking into a room, into a bar, into a social club, or wherever it might be, and you've got that hint of people and crowds in the background. Who else gives you that other than Carnation? Because that's there to print off as well. And here, no bar needed or anything like that. We've just got basically a table with a few drinks on the table, a couple of bar stools, and a couple of people playing darts with a dartboard. So there's so many angles and aspects to this. This is probably the only sport I'm any good at. I'm pretty good at darts, and that's about it. That's where my sporting prowess ends. And then don't forget, in exactly the same collection, totally different, you've got this beautiful house front as well, which could be a pub, could be a restaurant, it could be just an old building, it could be anything you wanted it to be honest. You can have the door that opens, keep it closed, you could put acetate behind the windows, put little lights behind the windows to illuminate it if it's going to be an ornament. But to get the whole thing, this is why it sold out very early in the day. 230401, $89.99 is a brilliant price for something that will do so much, from individual figures in sporting situations through to inside of houses and bars and the external scenes as well. 230401, $89.99. You've got to use the discount codes though, CCGT10, to get that extra £10 off, down from $99.99 to $89.99. And you've got time for one more demo, I think.
I have. I'm going to do another demo. We're going to do sort of more of a restaurant scene and have a look at that. Belkis Garcia is saying, please ask Carnation to make a whimsical circus theme. Belkis asked. So hopefully they will be listening and they'll take it on board. Obviously they have so many to do. Jean says, watching with my daughter, so many ideas, can't wait, so excited. It's when you start seeing it come together, right, Jean? You're just like, I can't wait to play with this.
And do you know what? It won't be just you know, the female card makers in the house. It will be the guy card makers in the house that are going to love this collection as well, because I really want to get my teeth into it and give it a go, because I like building models, and that's really what you're doing. You're making scenes and gardens and interiors. It's fab.
It's like building a house that you don't have to clean.
Yeah, it's true.
My favourite type of house. Right, let's just pop these together. So shuffling and putting those down. So you've made your card base, and then it's time to go in with some mats and layers. Working with mats and layers is one of those things that changes the outlook of your card. So if I use one mat, what I get is, like we did in the last scene, you get something that is very clean, very clean. If I start working with mats and layers, I start to build a stage and draw the eye into the centre. So at that point, I'm going to always be looking for what would essentially be my showstopper, the thing that creates the visual into the centre point of the card, because I'm building the platform of mats and layers upwards and inwards. So that's something to think about. Apertures, alternatively, you're working downwards, because you're obviously creating something that works inwards. So you're still looking for your showstopper, but you're looking for it to go to the back, because that's what an aperture does. It gives you a low relief, whereas when we're building them up, we get that higher relief on the card. So I'm going to go in with some perfect papers. So I'm using the blues, which I love so much. They come together in the most glorious tones. So again, trying to be central, but obviously working with what's I got. So just pulling those. Look at these. Look at this. It's a glorious cacophony of loveliness.
And don't forget things like your foam pads and all that sort of thing, and your adhesives are all on the Carnation's website as well, including some VersaFine ink pads now, I believe.
Yes. Now I'm inclined to not always work on tone. So if I'm using something like this, and I have done in this, I'm going to cool it down. However, what I will say, with these perfect papers, I was absolutely able to work on top of them, but you've got to be careful which bits you're using on which in order to not make it so busy, in as much as especially when we're using a pattern paper, right? We don't want to build too much on top of that. So I'm going to cool this one down because we're going to create a scene. So I'm on a 5mm on this, so I'm building height and chunkiness. So my stage is set.
And you're combining the dotty design perfect papers together with the plain.
And they're so pretty. Look at that. It's like a chocolate box.
It is.
Already we have a really beautiful setting for a card. So those of you who are brand new, those that were saying this morning, I wish I could make cards like the DT team. You absolutely can. Very, very small amounts of basic sort of knowledge in order to be able to build, because that's already beautiful. It doesn't really matter what I put on. And the power of carnation is this, for instance. If I was to seat that there and I was to then say place her standing here and leave it at that and put a sentiment on it. Now obviously I wouldn't just do that, but if I did and I just put a sentiment on it, I've already created a scene. There's a story to be told there. What's she doing? Why is she doing that? Is she going to sit? Is somebody else going to be sitting? Is she waiting? You create the scene. The power of a carnation die cut is that they are so strong, the artwork is so strong that actually with very little you create a huge amount. And that's what we're doing, is we're just feeding the recipient. You're just feeding them that visual, and that's why it works so well. Right, I'll stop waffling. Let's create. So my floor, parquet floor, I'm going to do it, but I'm not going to do it completely at the bottom. I'll just do it slightly raised. It doesn't matter where I put it. If I put it right at the bottom, that's my grounding device. If I put it up here, that's my grounding device. The floor is just a peek at what the floor is. So I'm going to go around about there, place down. So it doesn't matter where it is. It's about how it is, because it doesn't matter. It's a trick of the eye. I know that's a floor, so I know it's my grounding device. It's just a trick of the eye. So then I'm going to place in my two lovely chairs. Where's my pin flare? Dimension, because that will give me the shadow relief that I need. So one chair here. Remember, I've got to seat my people on it, so I just need to be canny where I'm going. But I've got the little wooden table here. So it's not the snooker table, it's not the outside bench, it's an actual table. So I'm going to use this.
And again, those sort of chairs you'd expect to find in a really nice posh upmarket restaurant, maybe sitting down waiting to have a drink before you go in for dinner or lunch or something.
They would make lovely chairs in a bookshop where you can just sit and
that's true,
and have a little read, which is one of my favourite things to do. And then just building up. So I've set my scene. I've got my grounding device. Now I can play. I mean, that. How inviting is that? Just as a scene on its own.
It's kind of welcoming you in, isn't it, really?
Literally. So here we go. Let's get her seated first of all. Make sure her feet are to the floor. She's sitting forward. She's in good, deep conversation. Make sure she's stolen enough of my pin flare from underneath so I know she's working. Then I have got my table. Look how clever this is. My table number. She's waiting for her dinner to come. She's put the order in.
Yep. Pizza and chips.
Pizza and chips. I hope sitting on those chairs she's gone for something a little glassier than that. Put that on. And just make sure it's seated. Tiny amounts of glue, she says. Remember, tweezers, best friends. Then I'm going to go in with her handbag, and her handbag again is going to go by her feet. Just down here.
Perfect.
It's what we do, isn't it? We have our handbag next to us. It makes sense. And then what I'm going to do, I've got some extra bits and bats. So the first thing I'm going to do, she's going to be having a pint.
Okay.
My kind of girl. So we'll put this down. Just onto here. Just pop that there. Then this one is going to be having a glass of wine, and I'll put this further forward on a table. So she is going to be half. Okay?
Yeah.
So we're just seating and placing. And then this character, hang on, let me do it with pin flare, it'll be easier. Wait, let's have a look. She's going to stand and she's about to go to that chair.
So she's gone and got the drinks, put them down, about to sit down maybe.
Ordered the food. Now, I quite like that as it is, but there's an awful lot of space up here, all right? A huge amount of space up there, and I don't want it. I don't want that much space. If I was going to do that, I would have had it more in a kind of panoramic. I would have made that smaller. So how do we adjust? Well, the pool cue cut in half. Tiny dabs
Okay.
of glue. Centre stage.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Yeah.
The trellis.
So is that like a netting that's going to be hanging from the, maybe?
Hold on.
Okay. Oh, I see what you're up to. That's one of the fanciest light shades I've ever seen.
I love how we've all gone quiet.
Yeah.
To watch it.
Just intrigued as to what you were doing.
Fill your space. Allow it to breathe. Allow the picture to tell a story. Allow it to come to life. Add a tiny light somewhere behind, poke through, behind the main light. Let it glow.
That is
Play.
lovely.
Build your scenes.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Playtime.
Simple, but very, very, very effective. I've got a couple more to show you quickly. We're nearly at the end of the show. Look at this one. I mean, this is looking literally at the front of the house. And instead of the lady having a pint or a glass in her hand or anything like that, she's actually got the little plant pot in her hand being delivered to either number 21 or someone who's got a 21st birthday. But look at these beautiful hanging baskets either side. The lights are on either side too. So someone just waiting for the door to open. And this is another twist on it. This one here, remember these digital stamps are on the website to print off along with the vignettes as well. But this is like the people are waiting to go into the tennis club outside of the picket fence, and there are the two people just about to walk out onto the court. So really different takes on how you can use these. And a massive thank you and a big heads up to all of the design team today who've obviously had a ball making all these cards because we've had so many in. You're going to enjoy it, of course, as well. Let me just remind you that this has sold out as an immediate dispatch item, but it is available on extended dispatch. So what does that mean? You can see on the screen just there, it says the 4th of May. That's when it will be sent to you. That's only about 3 weeks away, so not long to wait. But what it more importantly does is it allows you to get this collection at this price of $89.99, not the price $148.94. We don't want any of you to pay that. That's what it's going up to eventually. But if you order it today, we're going to honour the price of $89.99 provided you use this code CCGT10. Okay, if you put that in the promo box, your price of $99.99 goes down to $89.99. Think about your perfect papers. Think about printing off those vignettes this afternoon. It nearly went at the last minute there. That's got fallen over 3 or 4 times today. The vignettes are there for you to print off right now. Enjoy the artwork. Enjoy everything about this collection. It's been one of my favourites. I'm not here next month. I'm actually off for a week at the beginning of May, so I'll see you back in June. Carla, you're back tomorrow, aren't you?
I'm always here. I'm here with Miss Sharon tomorrow. Miss Sharon will be your demonstrator. I will be presenting for you tomorrow. We'll have another look through this collection and see what Miss Sharon's take on it is, which will be very different to mine, which is always nice for you guys to see at home. It's just been awesome to have your company today because I think this is a really important collection, and I'm so glad that those of you who did manage to get hold of it in time did manage to get it, because by tomorrow when Miss Sharon and I come on at 12 and then 2 o'clock, some of you will have it in your hand and can craft along, and that's a real treat to have as well. So a massive thank you from me for your company.
And thank you from me as well. I will see you in a couple of months' time. Enjoy the shows tomorrow. Thanks to Taz, thanks to Carla, thanks to you. Stay safe, stay well, and enjoy your collection.